SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to episode 108 of the SmashFactor, the 2020 RBC Heritage. Live from Norman, Oklahoma. A long day yesterday, exciting day, kind of draining in a sense. Even longer day today for me as we continue to try to get settled and check off the relocation moving boxes of things you got to get done, registered, new driver's license, all that kind of stuff. Not only when you move, but when you move to a new state, a little bit more to kind of knock out, and full focus on golf last week. So I put a lot of that off. So trying to get caught up this week. Been a long day. So a little later than what we're going to be Normally we'll be going out a little earlier on Mondays with this kind of being the full focus for me. I'll be able to, especially if they get pricing out like they did today. I don't foresee that moving forward always happening. It's normally around noon or 1, and kind of shocking this morning getting it out at 9:30. So anyways, quick recap. I'm not going to go deep into that stuff. We're here to kind of go on to the next week, get forward, be, quick, easy podcast, or if you're watching live, for you guys to watch and knock out as you continue your research. Simply put, kind of the thoughts I wrote down last night. Great tournament. It was great for golf. It was great for our industry, being DFS betting industry. A lot of eyes on it, a lot of new eyes, fresh eyes. I think we had one of, if not our most downloaded podcast last week. Definitely with outside of a major, our highest podcast ever. So appreciate that. Hopefully you guys come back today, which is great all the way around. I mean, probably I don't want to say downside, but potential downside is like the veterans like we are know that that's not necessarily how every tournament goes, or is it exciting like that? But it may be like that this year because we have so many stacked fields. We're going to continue to have these guys that are going to play in tournaments that they normally don't. I think we got 38 players this week playing here for the first time again. So a lot of guys, strong fields. No Tiger this week, although we kind of thought that was happening. But still super strong field, just as strong as last week. With some additions coming back with, Terrell Hatton, Matsu, Snedeker, guys like that. For me personally, last week it was okay. We had HV3 and Spieth both live on Sunday, and that's all you can ask for. You got a 50-1 guy and a 150-1 guy really live, so that's great. Neither one came through, but that's outright betting. I maxed the milli as I said I was going to. I returned almost 2,400 back, so I think I lost about 21% of that investment, which for the milli, which is so heavily weighted, I wasn't worried about it on that. That's a good, unless you get way up there, it's pretty good, which it also equates to I had a lot of teams that placed or lineups that placed instead of just having one big one or two big ones in there. The fade of 100% fade of Webb and English was very good, spot on money, very unique in the industry. I would probably venture to say I was the only person that did that, full fade of both. But I went heavy on DJ and Fowler, which hurt, them missing the cut. The middle of everything else was great. I had a lot of Reed, I had a lot of Neiman, had a lot of Bryson. I went heavy on Bryson since I faded Webb. Just didn't get all the right pieces there. And DJ hurt me in my single to 3 max builds. If he makes a cut, probably a pretty big week for me because I had a pretty solid lineup, especially with HV3 in there. He was, I think he was 0.65 in the 555, 0.9 in the 333. and then maybe 1.8% in the millie. So I was massively overweight there on him. He obviously had a great week. Not the weekend he probably looked for, but overall was solid. I expect him to be right back, getting contention or a strong week again this week as this course seems to correlate to Colonial. One of the things, and we'll get into in a second, is how does it being played almost 2 months later than normal lineup this week, but we'll talk about that. Other than that, it's a great tournament. Berger's a guy that's elite talent, I guess you would say, ceiling wise. A star. 2-3 years ago was really good. Slowly coming back. We know we had said even before the COVID break that we got a little bit of inside there with him, and he was battling back, getting healthy from an injury, and he got fourth at the Honda when we were there, and then first this week. So his last two tournaments that he's played since the Genesis, pretty good. Interesting to see who goes back to him this week. 8,900, pretty good price, but people are going to put faith into the back-to-back. If there ever was to kind of look at how people did last week going into this week, this would be one of the stronger suits, because you got back-to-back tournaments that are, barely going to have strategic wise off the tee and hitting your spots and giving yourself the most greens and not get in trouble here. You'll notice that bogeys and doubles here come a lot. And sometimes you get big numbers, 7, 8s, 9s. So bogey avoidance is going to be big this week. Before we jump into this week, listener league winner, Ferg Dad 607, kind of a unique build, and didn't have a good Sunday. Some did, but not others. So I bet he was doing even better and if he had this in other contests going into Sunday, but and no Berger either. So Reed, Morikawa, Scheffler, who had a terrible Sunday, HP3 just okay Sunday. Connors, I think, finished +1. So not like a strong finish, but the pieces and of all them together was solid. And HP3 obviously kind of helped him be a little lower on there. But good week for him. The new contest will be in this pod. I posted it in Slack earlier for the premium members to get in. Same structure as last week. 10% rake, which is the lowest rake they're giving to non-DK, not employed, but whatever, like Mayo. Mayo works for DK as a contractor-ish type person. So that's why they do the rake free, but they're not doing that anymore unless you have a direct affiliation with them. So 10% still better than nothing. We filled it up super early last week. They were impressed. Running back the same this week because, no Tiger, kind of the, everybody just wanted to play last week, wanted to see, can we prove it to them again? Especially we got the posted early last week. So posted it this afternoon. Let's see if we can fill it quick and try to push that up even bigger as we head towards the first big tournament, no Memorial, and then working towards the first major. 2020 site sponsor, Super Draft. As always, use the code GUP, get $10 bonus dollars when you put your first $10 into play. When you put that $20 into action, whatever you win, you get to take out. There's no rollover or no got to play it 10 times or 5 times before you get the money out. If you put 20 into play and win 500, you can pull it all out if you want. Don't think you will. I think D-Rock's article had a lot of compliments on it last week. We had a lot of guys on the leaderboard. I know he was up there heading into Sunday, himself pretty strong. And then some other guys were asking about that content. And then, smaller contests, especially if you're unsure of how to get into the big fields or wanting to baby step into this, or maybe I know some people are using that as their cash game money instead of playing cash in DK. So they're kind of playing those because they're smaller setup, better chance to cash type of deal. So, check that out. He's got the article, full rankings on the multiplier and stuff like that. It's great content. Our tools and content is integrated with it as well. So, you can run everything you need to run on there, and our scoring, Super Draft scoring is included in all of our statistical models. Listener leagues only, or listeners only, 20% off with Smash20. So just use the code Smash20 if you want to try out one of these packages. The Research Center had great reviews. A ton of people signed up. Then tried it for free, and now they're adding it back on, or they're adding it on because it went away this morning. So you have to be a premium member now to check all that out. Great feedback on the lineup generator, optimizer, and all that, and they can see where we're moving with this thing and the product. So I appreciate all the feedback and comments. There was a ton this week, and certainly appreciate that. We're still running the promo. If you sign up for a monthly, After your first full month, you'll get a shirt or a hat. If you do the annual, you'll get both. So we'll run those reports at the end of the month and then start sending that stuff out. If you sign up for the annual, you get the both, like I said. And we're also doing, if you're a current member, we don't want to leave you guys out, huge merchandise sale, 40% off with the code Colonial. That'll be good all through June. We're trying to push that inventory out. We got some new exciting stuff on the way. And especially you guys, a lot of people will always ask me, man, I got in on the cheap. I got the $6.99 or the $69 deal. I feel like I'm stealing from this. You know, how can I help you? This is how you guys can help us. Like if you don't have shirts and hats and all that, not only that, but if you buy the HV3 shirt, all the profits there, we're going to donate to the HV3 Foundation once we get sold out or close to sold out on those. But also buying from us, obviously that's a way to help us and support the brand and help us put more money into these generators and stuff like that. So right now we're doing 40% off to try to get rid of that inventory. We're almost sold out of all that. We'll re-up some of that, you know, because that's our classic t-shirt. We'll always have it, but we're trying to get that, you know, this first big purchase out. And then we're going to add some stuff to the store that I think you guys will like. So with that, we will head straight to the RBC Heritage. As always, I'll refer you to our partner, Kenny Kim, in his podcast, Fantasy DGens. He breaks down the course preview in full, or if you're a premium member, he has it on the site plus additional information that is not out there on the podcast. And then he updates on Wednesday as well, and then throws in some of his showdown plays and et cetera and thoughts each night. He joined me last week for the E9. I'm going to try to do that, you know, once a month or at the big tournaments, have him on. May have some guests on from time to time. We'll get all that figured out, but it'll still be good stuff. Probably the best, you know, last minute content that we offer is the E9 for sure. We kind of wrap it all together. We get your live questions. Last week we had 40-50 questions to go through. It's great stuff. You can go in the Slack and there's a, you know, hashtag live chat questions that you can enter them in all week. And then we pull from those plus the YouTube feed on Wednesday. And that really allows, even if I do it solo, allows me to gauge where you guys are and answer them and go through them. So that'll be good stuff. We're at Harbour Town Golf Links, as I mentioned, par 71, 7,100 yards, Pete Dye track. Like I said, similar to Colonial, narrow fairway, small greens, Bermuda greens this week, not bent though. So we'll have to tweak some of the putting stuff as we look into the deep dive going in. You know, last year it was a week after the Masters. Obviously, that was a Tiger Masters and all kinds of things were going on. The only reason why I say that is two things: different time of the year, different field in general. You know, it's going to be interesting to listen to the players, because I even made a switch last week when I was on the GPP show with Josh, that just listening to some of the players and getting feedback that it seemed like the greens were going to be receptive and the scoring could be higher than what we anticipated because it was so hot. They had to keep them wet, you know, which made them soft. So I want to hear that this week, because this tournament's normally even earlier than Colonial. So you're 2 months later, heat, all that kind of stuff. The weather does look great this week, but that was one thing I picked up on listening to the conversations with the guys. You're either on PGA Tour, their media feed, or watching the Golf Channel. So that's something between now and Wednesday I'll be focused on. You normally at this tournament being in April, you get a lot more of those spring showers, wind, storms, stuff like that. I don't think we're really going to see that. I mean, it looks beautiful, very, very small chance of rain, very light winds from what this tournament normally holds. So what normally is a pretty tough track and scoring, we may see higher scoring, kind of like we did last week, because the winds may help this course a lot and protect it. I'm going to put the cut around even this week. I think it's to play a hair harder than Colonial, and I'm going to have the winning score around minus, 14 or so, minus 15. One thing about Colonial and protecting those greens is those were bent greens, and in the South, it's extremely hard to keep bent going. There's very, very few courses in Texas and even Oklahoma that have bent greens for that reason. And so you saw the fans on there. My old course in Tulsa, same deal. We had the big fans around it to help keep them cool. The Bermudas, thrives in the heat and that kind of stuff. So they won't have to worry about that as much. So that's what I kind of want to pay attention to and key on as we get closer to tee time Thursday. Key stats for the week. Again, like I said, 38 new guys to the course this year. They switched up the ranges in number of guys in the ranges. Last week, we had 4 10K and 9 9K guys. This week, in a pretty similar field, I think we got 150 guys loaded into DraftKings right now. We got 6 10K guys for 4% and only 4 9K guys for 3%. So a little bit of adjustment there. 11 8K guys, which is exactly what it was last week. 45 7K guys, which is one more than last week, 30%, but 5 more 6K guys at 84 for 56%. So 86% of this field is priced 7,900 or less, really forcing you to either hone in on that 8K range to get some balanced value, or the stars and scrubs starts coming into play. With only 4 9K guys, it's kind of, it's going to be unique to see how the industry, bounces back and forth, and then the reaction or overreaction from last week on some of these players, and then the ones that didn't play at all, like Matsu. What do we do with him at 9,500? If you're new to the pod, thanks for joining. I do 4 tiers, the Dirty Dozen. First tier, all first 3 tiers are price-based, and then the 4th tier is a flop, a fade, and a sleeper. My favorite $6,900 or less play not already mentioned. Then I do a little roundtable wrap-up, talk a little strategy, talk about 3 guys that I kind of bookmarked with different notes from the prior week for some moving forward type stuff. Then we have Monkey Knife Fight, promoting out our betting strategy, one and done strategy, and then we'll wrap it up with some Gup's final thoughts. One thing I will say about Monkey Knife Fight, I will have content this week. I don't know if I'm going to blend it in with my plays or just put out like a similar betting deal and say, here's the ones I like, here's the top 3. What I probably will do on the Gups Plays Picks article that I put out, I'll put out like at the bottom, I'll just say, here's my top 3 to 5, because it's us against the books, or in this case, Monkey Knife Fight. So it's not like DFS. It's props and over-unders and all that. So I will be engaged in that. I know last week I kind of last minute it. I had it done. It was so much going on trying to get ready, but I will have it out there for you guys. And our promo with them is great. We'll get to that here in a little bit. So our first tier, 9K or above, 3 picks in each tier, like I mentioned. My number 1 rated player of the week is Morikawa. Probably no shock there. Number 1 of my stats, 15th in recent form. He's not played here, but he's a guy that I really don't care that he hadn't played here. He hits a lot of fairways. He's one of, not the best ball strikers on tour. No issue there. The 10K, he could get a little chalky because he's the cheapest of all of them. But, Xander's right there at 10-2 that I think will pick up some ownership. Rom 10-5 if people want to jump back there. Bryson looked like, Hulk last week and played like it as well for the most part. I think some people are going to try to go balance-ish. So, he might not get too much. I really think and my ownership was pretty good last week overall. A few guys I was, pretty far off on, but for the majority, it was pretty close, especially not having any, not a lot of recent information. But I still think, again, this week, you'll see a lot of spread out. It's just the way the fields are going to be, and people go, different places. We do have some recency bias that'll now come in to play. And then I think the course history will come into play, because you got guys that have done well here. But on top of that, you'll probably hear a lot in the industry that Colonial plays close to Harbour Town. So some of that stuff will drive some groupthink type stuff. So we'll pay attention to that. But I like Morikawa. Sung Jae, I just can't get off of him. 9,700, second in my stats, 11th in recent form. Last 4 out for him is a T29, a first, a third, and a 10th. He did play here last year and missed the cut, but I can play him every week and not really worry about it. My last one's Webb. I'll go back there. Well, I won't be going back there. I'll be going there, but I assume a lot of people will bounce back. But maybe he burned enough people that he kind of gets just pushed under the rug. He's 8th in my model overall, 9K, 14th in stats. Recent form is there. Course history, his last 5 out here is a 51st, a 61st, or 66th, 11th, 5th, and a 16th. So great, course history here. His his second round compared to his first round was a lot stronger last week. So that's a positive I look at. I don't mind going back there, especially, the bounce back week. He burned everybody last week. So if people jump off of him, I don't mind going to him. Our second tier, 7,600 to 8,900. First play there for me is Patrick Reed, 8,800. I'll go back to him. I was heavy on him last week. He's only played there once since 2015, and he missed the cut. But His last 3 tournaments out, recent form wise, he won. He's got a 15th and now a 7th to back it up. His iron game and all that is great, as good as it gets. His bogey avoidance, he's 3rd, which I really like. Nothing to hate there for him at all. 8,800 actually seems a little cheap for him. So I'm going to go back to him. Kokrak, definitely had him last week. Small own, but I was still overweight on the field. Played great, but he's really been playing great. If you go back to some of our other pods, I mean, I mentioned that for a while. Like, this has been his best run for 12 months by far. He's got mixed results here, an 18th, a 6th, and a 16th, and then 2 missed cuts. I do know we had some weather issues here in a couple years. It's in my notes. That'll be some of my deep dive stuff, because I want to, if there was a huge advantage, I remember for sure there was one year there was like a massive advantage for one of the waves. And so some of that stuff could like dilute these results, but considering he's had 3 top 18s around the other 2, I don't mind. I don't think he has horrible history here, and he's playing as good as he has ever played in his career, in my opinion. He's 10th on my stat model. His last 3 out, a 51st, an 18th, and a 3rd. So I like Kokrak. No reason to shy away from that at 7,900. Finau, we want him to win, but he just sticks around. He's just always there, and 82 seems cheap for him. He's right there going into Sunday. Didn't have the best. Finished 23rd. He had the miscut at API. He hadn't played here since 2016, so no recent kind of history here. He doesn't really pop like tremendously overall for me. He's 16th, but for the price, it fits. So I really like it, and I'm interested to see. I'm going to kind of get to it later, but we got these. I got 4 guys, 5, 6 guys that their long-term kind of dilute some of their short-term, or vice versa. You really don't know what people are going to do with them. They're all similarly priced. DJ, Kuchar, Brooks, Spieth, Fowler, all in that 8K range, even Rose a little bit. Some of his older stats are hurting because of, when he was using the older clubs. Now he comes back, gets his clubs back, he shoots 3rd. So I expect Rose to be highly owned just for that. But those are some of the guys that are going to kind of drive this whole ownership picture, and be interested to see where people are. So Finau may get overlooked with some of those guys when you got DJ and Brooks right there, especially if you're doing the public big type stuff, because those guys can get clicked easy from just people who know DJ and Brooks before they may know a Finau. Last tier, 7,500 or less. Go back to JT Poston, had him last week. T19, he had a T5 at the API and a T5 at the Genesis. Played here last year. It looked like for the first time, got a 16th, 23rd in my stat model. He really struck the ball well here last year too. So he'll show like number 1 in my course history. And I do course history a little bit different, because I want to break down where the guys got their strokes from when they did well, not just did someone have a hot putter or whatever. And I talk about that with the community some, because people will ask me, but I'm going to put a little twist on that with my article tomorrow, my deep dive, that I think you guys will like. But I'll go back to Poston, definitely like him. I'll go back to Damon, 7,500. A 10th, a 35th with a miscut at the API. He played here last year for the first time. He got a 6th. Last week played, tremendously well. Had a great end, I think Saturday, and then Sunday played decent enough. Finished 10th overall. It's tremendous in that field. Like his number at 60-1 as well. Last in this range, Bubba. Bubba's 7,400. Feels cheap. I played some of him last week, but not many was on him. So, I was leveraged to the field, maybe even a little hair up. He has not played here since 2015. But considering how he played last week, I really can see him doing well, again. Stats are pretty good. He can get wayward off the tee on the accuracy side. So I don't know if I love him as much as I did last week. Obviously, I didn't love him, but I played him some. But 7,400, I think his upside and ceiling is worth some shares, depending on where you're at. I don't know if I'm in the 1 to 3 with him yet, but GPP, I for sure would have my eyes on him as a strong play, and so where to maybe get some leverage down there. 4th tier, as I mentioned, the flop, the fade, and the sleeper. If you're new, the flop is someone that I think won't return their value. So it's not price driven. It could be an 8,000 guy that I just think is too high price for what he's going to do. Fade is mainly I'm fading because of what I potential ownership, but it could be course history here, recency form, or something like that. And then sleeper, again, is just the best guy, 6,900 or less on the board of me. My flop is Fowler. For as much as Jordan got, has been ridiculed over and over, like Fowler's not just playing great lately. I guess stats are terrible in my run today. He had a miscut at the Honda, a miscut last week. He did finish 18th at the API. So very hit or miss. And I think at the 81 price, he may gain ownership. So, I mean, it's kind of a fade as well, but I do think I want him to show it to me before I believe it. And maybe I change by Wednesday and do some deep dive and stuff like that. Something pops to me, but right now I just don't see Fowler as a play for me. And maybe that's recency bias on my end because, I had a lot of them last week. He was under the radar and he missed the cut, but I don't think so. We'll see. Fade will be Spieth, and this is a big asterisk. I think most were shocked at the 21% ownership last week. I thought he would get higher owned, but I thought I was going to be leveraged on the field at the 16 or so percent. I had him in the milli, and I was underweight. But I don't mind fading him in this spot. Looked great, but gained over 7 strokes, I believe, putting. Could be a little fool's gold. He obviously hit the ball better than he has at times. He definitely hit a lot more fairways, but he still was spraying at some. 10th place finish. I mean, there's nothing you can argue about. He's right there going into Sunday, but his price didn't go up too much, 8,700. So if people are going to jump on him like he's about to make another run, I think I could fade that this week. If I fail by Wednesday, he's going to be lower owned for whatever reason. I don't think that'll happen. I don't mind playing him at a lower percentage, but I'm not playing a 20% speed here this week. I just take that fade, that stance. That'll be one I update as we get closer to Wednesday. My favorite play on the board, 6,900 or less, is Ryan Moore. Solid week last week in some areas, just didn't put all together. He missed a cut. A 52 at API. So his history is not, recent form wasn't great coming in. Isn't great coming in. 2019 and 18, only 2 times he's played here. He's got a 41st and a 16th. Stats, he's the 13th on my model. So his game just seems to fit. He's one of those course fit guys, if that's what you want to call it, that I think, especially he's like, I'm putting him in the web category. Miscut, maybe people are off him, but the price reduction down to 6,900. I like him in that spot this week and think we can get some leverage on the field there. There's several in that low 7, high 6s I like this week, which is kind of leaning towards that stars and scrub type of build. But when it's with a dead 6,900 or less, I definitely like more this week for the sleeper of the week. Just some follow-up on the other guys that, I can't get to being the solo, but don't want to just regurgitate everything that you'll hear over and over this week. But, Bryson, I don't mind going back to. I do wonder how the power move will work here, but par 5 scoring is crucial here, and that could bode well for him with his off the tee. He's number 1 right now, and off the tee, being able to have more birdie attempts. If he can avoid the big numbers, which I can see him lean into that, but his last 4 tournaments is a 5th, a 2nd, a 4th, and a 3rd. So it's hard to argue with that. Here he's been complete up or down. He's got a 4th miscut, 3rd miscut. So when his game's on, although completely different style game that he's playing now, definitely there. Rory, I'm interested to see being the highest price, the collapse on Sunday. Do people go back to him or not? He's never played this course. Certainly on my radar. I just want to see what the perception of the industry is going to be and kind of what people are thinking. Same with Rahm. He missed the cut. I didn't have much of him last week. I did play him, but I went light on JT and Rahm. JT I thought was going to go win that thing on Sunday and hurt me, pretty bad on that. But Rahm was a miscut, and I had a half of what the field had. But 10-5, he may have some of the web in him as well, a little bitter. So it could be a potential, all Webb, Rahm, and Rory, even though Rory made it all the way to Sunday and was, only 2 or 3 back going in, just the way he finished may have people off him a little bit. So again, back to that spread out ownership that I think will happen this week. So really, I think you can construct how you want, just believe in it and build around that, because there's gonna be so many options for people to go to, and so many storylines and so many things that you can pivot off this or do this or play this. That I just think the ownership is going to get spread out, and it's not going to. You're going to have as wide of a gap on that core that you're building as you normally could have. Hatton's a guy I like coming back, first time back. That didn't bother me at all. When he came back off that wrist injury, he played well. A 6th at the WGC. He won the API. He's played there twice, 1 miscut, 129th. So at 8,000, I love the play at Hatton. Almost made my board in the tiers, the Dirty Dozen. Hideki, obviously we had him at the first round leader at the Players when it got canceled. The bets did pay out though, so that was great because there's literally like 2 guys left on the deal. But All books that I know have paid out, but hasn't played here. First back. 95 seems iffy, but I definitely could be a leverage spot if you want to go in on that. I mean, if anybody shows up and can just hit fairways and he starts hitting, he can hit wedges, irons as good as anybody when he's on. Could be a leverage spot where you don't have to play too much. Kind of like last week I talked about with DJ. That didn't work out for me, but he may not be high owned, especially coming back. So you may only have to have 18% to be 1.5x over the field if he's going to be 12 or something like that. So that's one to keep an eye on ownership. Billy Horschel had him last week. Go back there. He plays here a lot. 51st, 45th, miscut, a 5th, and a 45th. His last 4 tournaments straight, all made cuts, a 9th, a 42nd, 36th, 38th. Showed some good signs last week. Priced right, 7,700. Definitely go back there. Neiman, don't need to say much there. I'll go back there. Not as great on Bermuda putting, but finished strong Sunday. I like the way he finished. Irons where he was hitting his irons great. So 7,400, I definitely like that. Collie, I was all on him last week a lot. I'll be back there. I don't mind the slight price bump to 7,200. Likes this course, a 9th, a 23rd, 39th. One of my favorite plays on the board that I did not get into the tiers, and it was close, but I like Collie a lot. Finau, we already mentioned him. Woodland, again, played great last week. Didn't probably as strong a finish. He had a chance to win it going into Sunday, but a 9th. His last 3 is a 9th, an 8th, and a 12th. 8,400 seems really cheap for him. I think he's going to draw ownership away from some of those other guys I talked about in that range earlier. Sabatini, a guy I like, earmarked here early. Been playing a lot. We talked about that last week. Played good last week. A 14th. Last 2 times out here, a 10th and a 23rd. He did have 2 miscuts 4 or 5 years ago, but his game's, for him is really good right now, and I like that. A leverage spot, guy coming back that didn't play last week, Ches Reavie. Probably not a lot, but he was a name that I wanted to write down and say, keep him on. He's up there right now in my rankings a little bit, but I'm sorry, he did play last week and missed a cut. So I wrote him down as he, one of those potential, maybe he starts slow, he's back. He's got a 28th and a 33rd here, along with 2 missed cuts. The 6,800 is just, if you're going to go Sergeant Scrub, you're going to need some of those guys potentially. I just like where he's at price-wise. Right now, we'll see how we get to Wednesday, but he was a name I wrote down of a guy that kind of course fit type guy for here. Snedeker, I don't think there was any reasons. I don't know if he withdrew or if he was just, I don't know what happened last week. I need to verify that. It's something I should have got done before here, but I'll do that before we get to Wednesday. I don't think there's any worries there. Likes it here. He's got a 26th, an 11th, a 23rd, and a 48. 7,500 seems really cheap for him. I actually don't even mind the 80 to 1 odds. Last time out was a WGC. He got a T22. So I like him at 7,500. Burgoon, guy I played in Showdown a lot. Kind of feel, I think I was maybe texting with Tambo on Sunday that I feel like this week is like we're back to an RBC Heritage is one of I did well at before, but Team Gup is coming to life here. We got Damon, we got Burgoon, we got HV3. So some of those guys that have all kind of gelled together for me in the past are playing here and all playing pretty good. Burgoon finished 38th last week. He had a 39th here a couple of years ago. So 6,400, cheap option, keep your eye on. Potentially, definitely GPP play for sure. Fitzpatrick, guy, I'm just never really seem to be on totally. Nothing against him. I just don't seem to ever fall on him. But I do like him this week. Played good last week. A 32nd. His last 4 is a 30th, a 37th, a 9th, and a 32nd. He's played here 4 straight years, miscut, and then a 14th, 39th. So maybe he's kind of got to know the course a little better. He's on the bubble of like a pool for me, GPP type play, but I do like him. I mentioned, Brooks, DJ, Fowler, those guys. Those guys are guys that I'm going to have to just deep dive in because some of the stuff is skewed. Their stats aren't as great as what you would think. Kuchar stats aren't great really at all for what I'm looking at, but he's got the fifth best course history here. A 5th, a 9th, 11th, a 23rd, and a 2nd. DJ, Brooks, Spieth, they all have issues, injuries, some bad rounds in there. Fowler is the other one that those are going to be guys I'll have to manually adjust as we get to those final rankings, especially on Wednesday as I kind of especially this thing I did last week where I look at short-term versus long-term form on deep dive and just kind of see what do you want to go with, there, trust more. Out of all those guys, I think Kuchar's a guy that could potentially I will play. DJ, I already have a bet. Y'all know that 40-1 FOMO, and that may be all I do this week. I mean, he just killed me last week. I mean, I've mentioned the whole bounce back week. He's certainly a guy. 16th and 28th. I think 2018 he was leading this going into Sunday. So he doesn't mind teeing it down, putting the iron, putting it in play. His wedges have just been such garbage lately that, or iron play in general, that the 8,500 seems like a steal. So I you know where I'll get to by Wednesday. He's not going to be a heavily owned like lock for me by any means, but I already got the 40-1 bet locked in FOMO. But we'll see how that goes. And that's kind of like, speaking of the bookmarks of the week, he was the first one. Like I really want to see how he plays this week. Is he in the middle of a funk, or is it just you just don't know what DJ is going to show up? And if he shows up this week, T10, T15, then you just kind of got to guess which DJ is going to show up until he hits that stride. When he hits a stride, he's one of the best players in the world. We know that. My second bookmark of the week was Kokrak. I kind of mentioned that. I mean, he's literally playing what I believe is his best golf of his career, and it's been pretty consistent. And so 7,900 seems cheap, but just in general, moving forward, there's value there. Let's act on that while we can. And then Reed, I think he's much better than $8,800 in this field, in my opinion. So I'm gonna probably be overweight on him. I like him a lot. I think his game. He's a grinder and a winner, and he knows this is a short. We're in a still kind of a marathon, but we're more of a picked up sprint for this to get to the FedEx Cup with the way the season's turned out. And I like Reed, and I'll be on him a lot, especially if they're going to keep pricing him in that range. I may have to go overweight, but there's so many interesting plays in the 8,000. I just still think it's going to spread out some. As I mentioned, make sure you sign up for Monkey Night Fight. Tremendous product. It's nice because it gives you that betting prop aspect. It's us against them, so we can all talk about it. I will start having content this week on some of the ones I like the most, just like betting plays. Use the code GUP or any of our affiliates. You can go to gupscorner.com/affiliates, click the link, deposit up to $50. You get a free $50 right there. You can go put that into play. We're going to have a Beats Gups Corner free roll. Trying to pick the tournament to put the first one. We want to have 2 or 3 throughout the season. And anytime you get into this entry, you're in for each one of those free rolls. When they come up, there's going to be tons and tons of prizes on both sides from us and Monkey Knife Fight, and it's free. So as long as you register through this link and you're playing on the site, you get in those free rolls, or they're going to have a personalized landing page with a leaderboard for the Gups Corner people only. You don't have to be a member either. You just go click that link, deposit, get in, and you're in. And you're in the free roll as well. And they're going to be giving away, tons of money on their end. We're going to be giving away subscriptions, merchandise. And if you already have that stuff, we'll give away credits. So it's an awesome deal. It's free. Just put your money in, but that's only if you enjoy playing it. There's guys in the Slack to talk about it. Like I said, I'll look at it, do more of a breakdown on the site, and give some of my favorite, top 2 to 4 props that I like this week. So check them out. gupscorner.com/affiliates. Click on the link there, and that's all you have to do. Betting strategy sponsored by them. 50-1 or less. There's 2 guys that kind of popped to me off the bat. I'll have my full card out probably tomorrow. I'll have the outrights and stuff out. Finau and Hatton are the 2 I like. I don't know where I'm going to go this week because there's so much. Traditionally, there's a Sunday charge by people all over the place, and you can get some good value. You've probably seen that in the industry, but everybody probably has that in their notes from the prior year. I don't know how many straight years. I know last year we looked it up, and the winner had come back from 3 or more strokes like X amount of years in a row at this tournament. So definitely leave a lighter card. Probably play first round leader if I see an advantage, and then add a lot more this week than I did last week. I didn't do a lot of live ads. I was just wanting to take it all in. Didn't want to get overexposed week 1. Plus we had Harold and Spieth right there the whole time. So there wasn't real necessity on my end to add. And I want to get overexposed either. Mid-range odds, 50 to 80-1. Kokrak and Damon, kind of talked about them. Some of this stuff is kind of regurgitation. Apologize, but want to fit in some betting for you guys. Maybe if you're not members, you don't get the full breakdown of the card. I want to hit that. Long odd guides, 80 to 120 to 1. Hadwin and Sabatini. I didn't mention Hadwin much. That's probably an oversight, but 7,300. Decent results here. 30th, 22nd, 48th last 3 times out. Made the cut last week on a 43rd. I think people were kind of a little nervous on him last week because he had mentioned he really didn't feel motivated to practice much. So that's positive news there. I don't mind him in DraftKings. I didn't mean to leave him out, but I do like his betting odds. He's 100 to 120, depending on the site you're looking at. Dark horse, greater than 120. I'll go back to HV3. I think that's good odds for a guy that can, I think he can win. He showed it. He's getting better. He's using irons off the box where he needs to. He's positioning himself well. His wedge game is great. His approach game is great. Sometimes the putting's up or down. So I don't mind using him DraftKings or, the betting. Strobin's a guy I didn't mention earlier. Don't know if I'm on DraftKings where I'm at with him. He's a guy that form's just okay. He miscut the last 2 times out. That kind of worrisome, but he's got great results here: a 6th and a 7th and a 55. Definitely a GPP play. But 7,000's, pretty good for a GPP play. And then 125, 130, I'm seeing out there. Great betting odds. And then last is Collie. I'll go right back there like HV3, 125. I like that. I like that play as well. I did FOMO bet DJ. I mentioned that. That's already locked in. He may move to my official card. We'll see. You guys on the premium will get that, and you'll see if I have it as a FOMO or official play. And one guy I have bet, kind of free play of the week, is Hatton. Terrell Hatton. I went ahead and bet him. So that's locked in. And so is DJ. One and done. We're back. In case you forgot, we had a couple guys. We got the old common, hey, forgot golf was back. Can I sneak an afternoon golfer in? No, you can't. I missed one and done at the Honda. So we've all done it. And it's just part of the deal. I mean, if you miss it, you miss it. We're not making exceptions for anybody. Like even myself. We're not. You miss a deadline, you miss a deadline. So don't send me emails. You're just gonna get the same answer. Make sure you get it in now. Like if you're listening to this, go lock someone. You can go change it 18,000 times. It doesn't matter. But why not get someone locked in now? So strong play of the week, kind of best guy. I got Morikawa, DeChambeau, and Reed are the 3 that I think are up there that I like a lot for a one and done. Floor play, so kind of a mid-pack guy, get you maybe a good top 10 finish. I was good in this area last week. This week I like Kokrak, Finau, and Hatton. Those are the 3 I just mentioned. I've already mentioned those over and over, and then skins play, so maybe a couple guys off the board that may get a solo pick. Ryan Moore, Sabatini, and Bud Colley are my 3 skins play this week. So, if you're not familiar with the skins on the one and done, there's a reward or money, obviously, for basically all the skins won. There's a pot for it for the whole year, and then how many ever guy, and you get a skin by being the only guy in the one and done to pick that winner this week, which I think we have 2 on the year. But so it's off the wall type of guys that you got to try to nail down, and those are some of my favorites. As always, join me Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern. I may tweak with that depending on – some people loved last week. We went early. So guys that even couldn't see it live, as soon as they were done with kids in bath and bed, they could just fire it up. Guys that are grandpas like Kenny Kim is now, wanting to go to bed at like 6 o'clock. OG John was one that, he goes to bed early because he's got to wake up sometimes at 3 or 4 in the morning. So I kind of bounce that off the community. You guys give me feedback there. I don't care when we go. I'm normally ready by time, easily 5 Eastern. I can go as, now, especially now. This is my career. This is my job. If you guys like that early, I'd love getting it done early. And then we just talk about it all night, go back and forth. If you guys like watching it live a little later, I can do that. Doesn't matter to me. You guys give me feedback there and we'll go. So stay tuned. If we decide to go early, I'll let you know before Wednesday. We'll be doing some giveaways again this week, like last week. Be sure to check out Twitter, Gup's Corner, and my handle at Gup_GC. I'll be doing at least 1 or 2 giveaways. We had tremendous turnout last week on the giveaways. You did great there. I will tell you, I will be giving $100 DK money, or DFS money, I'll call it. Doesn't have to necessarily be DK, to one iTunes review guy, and I'll do it, let's say, Wednesday afternoon. If you're already on the iTunes and you did a review and you haven't won the iTunes review before, you're still in the contest. So I keep a log of all that. If you haven't reviewed us, go review us right now. I appreciate a 5-star if we can get it. I think we bring that value there, but it's $100, and only you guys that are listening are obviously going to hear that. So go to iTunes, leave us a review today or anytime between Wednesday, and I'll pick one guy or girl to get $100 on Wednesday. I know how many reviews we have now. If we get, let's say, 40 reviews between now and Wednesday, I'll give 2 away. I'll give $100 and then a $50, let's say. So I'll give 2 away. So you guys make that happen. Spread the word out there. If you're in Slack, tell everybody, go slam the reviews. If you don't know how to do it, I think we have a how-to on the site. If not, I'll either get with JB or myself and we'll post a little screenshot. It's super easy, but some people don't know how to do it. Appreciate that. And there will be other giveaways. Be sure to keep a lookout on that. Final thoughts for the week. For me, there's so many crazy times, and whether you're Republican, Democrat, black, white, purple, green, yellow, it doesn't matter. I'm married to a minority. My wife is Mexican, if you guys don't know that. So I stay out of all that, especially in social media, because first of all, words can get confused with what they actually mean. And it's just not my platform. Like, that's not why I'm out there. I do talk to people behind the scenes, and people ask me questions. They ask me different things. I talk to a lot of my friends about it. But the biggest deal for me is like us coming together, everybody coming together and working towards change and a solution and being there for one another. That's the macro view. And a lot of that we may not have a choice or a chance to address. But look at your circle around you, and who can you reach out to and just say, hey, you having a good day? How are you doing today? How can I be of help to you? Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's old mentors, or older in the community that you hadn't checked on in a while, grandma, grandpa, whatever. Seeing a lady carrying her bags, asked to help. Like, just being kinder, nicer in general is really what we're focusing around here on my house with my kids, and we always do that. But emphasis on that, and anything you can surround yourself that's more positive, not only for yourself, but bringing that out into the, society, then that's better. I stay off social media these days unless I'm working on the business or promoting it, because there's so much negativity. It drives someone crazy. And so many people arguing with people they're never going to meet in their life. And I just don't get it. I've been down that road before, especially DFS stuff, but all this other stuff, like, it doesn't do anything to get on there and argue and gripe and complain. I don't care if people are Democratic, Republic. I don't care what color their skin is at all. I have vast majority background of friends and my family. My sons are Mexican, percentage. So it's all around us and all surrounds us. But I think the more we focus on the positive in life and the positive we can provide to other people, the better. I think that's really the main thought I've tried to take into it is, how can I be better today, and how can I make someone else's life better? How can I make sure they're doing well, make sure they're doing good, and don't be selfish on your own thoughts. We may not agree on the same type of things, or we may have different views of political or money or financial and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't mean you can't just be better for each other. And I hope we as a country are opening up eyes and marching towards that to make some changes that's better for the long term, because the short term doesn't really matter. It's, are we making changes and doing things that really impact the future for our kids? That's how I look at it. I have kids, and so I look at it as like, I don't want them living in a country that I'm living in currently and all the stuff that's around us. I want us to be better for them. So that's kind of my big focus, and especially with a lot more time to work on things around here. I wanted to say that tonight, and then hopefully you guys have a great week. Last week was tremendous. You guys support us, so much, and we appreciate it. We have a lot of things coming, if you can't tell. I mean, we're all active. We're building a very, very good foundation to this community and organization. I can't wait to see where we are 6 months from now, a year from now, because we're really, truly on that uprise, and you guys are the reason, and we appreciate it. We'll see you Wednesday night if you're a premium member in the E9. Until then, have a good week, and see you later.
SmashFactor.